you been doing? What you been doing? So as everybody probably knows, pigs have a tendency to make a big mess anywhere they go. And my pigs are no exception. If you see right here at the water barrel, they have wallered out a spot in front of the water barrel so that they can get a cool spot to lay in. And they'll absolutely dig that to China if I let them. So let's go ahead and make a better waller for them so they'll have a better place to do that. They seem pretty content with just some loose dirt to root around in. My goal here was to make this kind of on a slant so that I could pour the water from the tractor bucket over here next to the fence and it would run down into kind of the low spot right there. So let's see how it works.
I don't know why is the pig waller so deep?
They're big pigs.
Muddy pig. See? Huh?
Really what I'm gonna need for this is a water hose that's gonna reach all the way out here. I've already got some hose, of course, but I need about 275 feet to get out here to the pigs. That would be a whole lot easier than what I'm doing now. But this is really important. Of course, pigs don't really have the ability to sweat. Oh goodness, don't have the ability to sweat. And when I give them this waller, it just changes their whole outlook on life. They get a whole lot happier. They get a lot more active. It's just something that they need. What, too hot? One of the major changes that we made around here this year was our garden setup. If y'all recall, in previous years we had the garden about, I don't know, maybe 500 yards or so from the house, and it was fed from the water source, which was the pond with a gas pump up a hill. And every time we wanted to water things, it just, we had to go put gas in the pump, get it going, make sure nothing was leaking, make sure it was primed, all of this stuff. And it worked fairly reliably about 75% of the time, but it just wasn't a great setup for us. And one of the main reasons that it wasn't such a good setup for us was because of these tomatoes here. We had blight issues like you would not believe. And one of the things that spreads blight is wet plants. Once those leaves get wet over and over, it just thrives on that. So this is what we did to at least mitigate that problem. You getting it, buddy?
Yeah, it was the water, but I'm done. There's no more things that don't have drippers.
Well, thank you. You can see here, instead of just a broadcast watering system that just wets everything indiscriminately, we've got a drip system on the base of all the tomato plants and the Brussels sprouts. But I think this is one of the main things that has helped us mitigate our blight issues this year. Also come through sometimes and get the leaves off the ground that are hanging on the ground. I should probably do it to this plant right here. It's due for it. But yeah, the plants look really, really good, and they're growing like I've never seen tomatoes grow, really. We've got some better boys here that I hope will start turning red soon, but those are really, really big, and this bush here is just loaded with them. Same thing over on this one, and oh, well, we got some blossom end rot on this one. I don't even know if that's blossom end rot. That's just, I don't know what that is. That's a bummer. But anyway, we've got loads and loads of tomatoes here. Here's one of our Roma plants here, and it is just loaded with tomatoes as well. And this is our cherry tomato plant, and it has got tons of nice little tomatoes on it. I can't wait to come out here and just pick red tomatoes off of this thing and eat them. Those are some of my favorites. Well guys, it is time to get back to the living room remodel project. In the last video you saw me cut some 2x4s, and those 2x4s are destined to go in this wall and the opposite wall over here. I've explained on the channel before that we're going to put some studs and saddles and stuff in the walls to support a triple LVL beam that's going to go across the top of this living room right here to replace a column that's in the middle. But first we've got to get access to this wall, so let's just start. This is some of our LVL beam material. I was able to get some extra when I got the bulk of it for that beam that's going to go across the living room, and it was recommended to me that I use this stuff for the header across the top of the doorway for extra strength. And it seems to me that it's just going to be gross overkill, but it's okay. We can certainly use some overkill in this situation. We're going to have a 37.5 inch header on top of this door. It's a 12-inch LVL, and it's going to be doubled, so you could probably sit Godzilla on top of that header and it's not going to go anywhere. So let's get this cut. Well guys, that is going to have to do it for the living room remodel stuff for this video, but I wanted to give you kind of a preview of what we're going to be attempting to do. Well, we're not going to attempt, we're going to do it. What we're going to do on the next living room remodel video. So basically what I have done at this point is I have created spots for these beams to rest. Now here's one of the beams. You saw me put the beams over the door over there, and it's going to be the same exact LVL beams going across the living room, except it's going to be 3 of them laminated together with some screws and liquid nails, super strong. I know you saw me do nails with that other one. I figured it was short enough that it really didn't matter that much. So we're going to do it. The next one we're going to do really strong with big heavy screws, liquid nails, and so forth. But for the next one, our task is to basically put these triple LVL beams right up here, and there's no space for me to really jam it up in there and show you, but I think you kind of get the picture. This beam plus 2 more are going to be resting on top of this right here, plus on top of the LVL header that we put over the door over there. So basically what's going to have to happen here is this is going to have to be cut out and then all tied back together once it's in there, and that's going to require, of course, bracing to go from the ceiling down to the floor so that our house doesn't, you know, fall in once we cut it in half, because we're basically cutting the house in half. We're going to be cutting all these joists and tying in new joists sistered to the old ones onto this triple LVL beam, and that way we're not going to have any post in the middle of the living room. We'll just have one single beam holding the whole thing up. So that's going to be our task for the next living room remodel. We're about to run to Home Depot and get some of the stuff that we need, liquid nails, screws, and stuff like that, but that's going to do it for the remodel portion of this video. I mentioned earlier in this video that what I really need out here at the pigs is a whole bunch of garden hose to stretch out here. Well, you know, garden hose is pretty expensive if you buy it new, but I went to a moving/estate sale a few days ago and I managed to score 250 feet of water hose for 25 bucks. So I'm set up now. Looks like it's nap time right now. Well guys, that is going to do it for this video. I really appreciate y'all watching, and I will see y'all on the next one.